WrestleMania 39 is just 1 week away. Does WWE have the final plans in place for Roman Reigns and Cody Rhodes? And who will be the next World Heavyweight Champion? The answer may actually surprise you. Also, Triple H has major plans for the Raw After Wrestlemania and has already laid out a 1-year roadmap of long-term booking following WrestleMania 39. We'll talk about it and so much more right here on Off the Script. Why has Triple H been so successful? Why is Triple H running WWE better than Vince McMahon and Bruce Pritchard on Monday and Friday night? Long-term booking. What is going on, guys? Thank you so very much for joining me right here on Off the Script. I got a little bit of extra for you. It is March 23rd, 2023. I am your host, JD from New York, as always, coming to you from the OTS venue. Thank you guys so very much for joining me on your Thursday afternoons, wherever you may be. Follow me on social media at JD from NY206. That's Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, and Cameo. Make sure you guys go check the description. Everything you need is right down there for all my socials. Make sure you go check out all the other content on the channel. Plenty of it. We were live on Monday. We were live on Wednesday for Raw and AEW. Next time you'll see us live is on Friday night following SmackDown. And make sure you guys do these important things. Hit that subscribe button down below. Turn on the bell for notifications. And hit that thumbs up if you enjoy the content that you see here today, right here on OTS. WrestleMania, 1 week away. You'd think WWE has plans in place for probably their biggest match of the entire year, with Roman Reigns defending the World Heavyweight Championships of WWE against Cody Rhodes in the main event of Night 2 of WrestleMania. There's a lot of news coming out, a lot of opinion as well in the community. And we have a big platform here. We have a loud voice in the community. I believe Cody Rhodes should not win the WWE World Heavyweight Championships at WrestleMania, as I don't think Cody Rhodes has struggled enough in WWE. Some of you might disagree with that. That's fine. I don't think Cody Rhodes has struggled enough in WWE since returning. 3 matches with Seth Rollins have been fantastic. Hell in a Cell, tore his pec, wrestled with that torn pec. Obviously, it was a heroic effort by Cody Rhodes. You may look at that as the struggle that Cody Rhodes needs or has gone through on the road to WrestleMania. It wasn't anything that happened in that match, and it was a freak accident. I'm not really even factoring that into his road to WrestleMania. He won the Royal Rumble. It was a very lukewarm reaction, I believe, from the fan base. Everybody looked at the Royal Rumble, including me, and I was left sitting there saying, that's it? I mean, he came out at number 30, very predictable. No struggle in the Royal Rumble at all. He went about 10 minutes with Gunther at the end of the Royal Rumble. But, I mean, that's not enough to convince me. And all while this was happening, the biggest story in the company at that time was Sami Zayn chasing Roman Reigns. And Sami Zayn chasing Roman Reigns in the bloodline for the WWE Universal Heavyweight Championship. The story was Sami Zayn. That's all anybody cared about. And when Sami went into Montreal, lost, then it shifted to Cody Rhodes. And by that time, we were maybe 6-7 weeks out, give or take, to WrestleMania. Has Cody done enough in that time? Has Cody done enough in that 6 or 7 weeks to make you say, yeah, I think we should end Roman Reigns 1,000 days as World Heavyweight Champion? He hasn't done enough to me, or for me. He hasn't done enough to make me believe that Cody Rhodes should be the World Heavyweight Champion. It's just the way that I think. It's the way that I operate. A lot of people call me a hypocrite. A lot of people say, oh, man, you flip-flop more than you fucking flip-flop Wendy's burgers. I mean, it's okay if your opinion changes. It's not that rare to see people's opinions change on what they've digested on TV over a string of weeks. It's okay to change your opinion. A lot of people claim and call out hypocrite as soon as they see someone's opinion change. It's not a hypocrite. It's just you've now seen what WWE is presented and you think a different way. That's all it is. Now we got the news of WWE very uncertain, even still, about what the ending of WrestleMania is going to look like. Is it going to be Cody or is it going to be Roman? And then we find out, after that report came out, that Roman Reigns is taking a break from WWE. Now, I'll get to that report in a second, but let's talk about Triple H not being certain on WrestleMania's biggest match in years, which is Roman Reigns and Cody Rhodes for the World Heavyweight Championship. Now, WrestleMania 39, obviously, it's going to be a big show, and this is coming from WrestleVotes. This match is major. WrestleVotes is reporting that Triple H has looked at this at all angles, from all angles, and still hasn't fully decided on who is going to win the World Heavyweight Championship. WrestleVotes says, and I quote, "I'm told this is contingent on when Reigns eventually loses the titles. As of now, those plans are not certain." Now, WrestleVotes' tweet came after a report from Give Me Sport, who reported that Reigns will likely take a significant break after WrestleMania from WWE, and this new report explains that Reigns will only take a long break if he loses the undisputed WWE Universal Championship, which I just read to you from WrestleVotes is contingent on if he loses the championships or not at WrestleMania, and that's a decision that Triple H has not really even come close to making yet. Now, Fightful followed up on this and provided an update noting that talent they've spoken to within the WWE said that across the board, talent in the company have not been informed at all of winners or losers of WrestleMania, and we're only a week out from the event. The report notes that it is common within the company to not know the results this far out ahead of the shows. Now, I'm going to call bullshit on that. I mean, that's not how I would operate. I don't know why you would expect WWE to operate this way. You know what I think? I think this is very, very typical of Vince McMahon. It's very difficult for me to sit here and not think that Vince is heavy-handed in what is going on as far as outcomes and conclusions and winners and losers at WrestleMania. Because you know he has a hand in what's going on. You know he has had a hand in what's going on in several different aspects. And you know he will be there. I don't see Vince McMahon not showing up at WrestleMania or being backstage at WrestleMania, in Gorilla at WrestleMania. And do you genuinely believe Vince McMahon is going to sit idly by and let Triple H book Roman Reigns and Cody Rhodes without his say? You know for a fact Vince McMahon's going to have a say. 11 days out and you don't have any winners and losers? I don't believe that at all. And wait till I read to you the report that Triple H has a year roadmap of long-term booking plan for several different acts in the company. He has a long-term road plan for WWE after WrestleMania. Yet here we're listening to Fightful and WrestleVotes claim that Triple H doesn't have a fucking clue on who's going to win this match. And now, granted, it's the most important match of the decade in WWE. This is Roman Reigns' 1,000 days on the line here. I mean, we haven't seen a title reign like this in forever. But then we read a report that Triple H has a one-year plan after WrestleMania. We can't come up with a fucking plan for who's going to win the World Championships? There's a little contradiction in that report, multiple reports, if you ask me. So who's making the decision? I understand it's a big decision, but you would think that somebody is in their minds as who's going to win and who's going to lose. You'd think by now they'd know, well, Cody's the guy. Let's give him the championship. If they haven't decided, we're 7 days away from WrestleMania. If they haven't decided if Cody Rhodes is the guy yet, 7 days out, is Cody Rhodes really the guy? Is Cody Rhodes really the guy that's going to win the championships at WrestleMania if they haven't come to a decision yet? I don't think so. I don't think he's the right guy right now. Do I think he is the right guy? Yes. At SummerSlam. We need a little bit more time in the oven for Cody Rhodes. We need a little bit more struggle for Cody Rhodes. So this report here, you got one coming from WrestleVotes via Give Me Sport. Then Fightful jumps in like they usually do. And things are contradicted here. One report says that Triple H doesn't have a clue on who's going to win the match yet. Then I'm going to read to you the next report that Triple H has a year-long roadmap for WWE After Wrestlemania. How the fuck can he have a year-long roadmap if he doesn't even know who's going to win the World Championships at WrestleMania? Or am I losing my fucking mind? I don't understand it. Winners and losers aren't in place 11 days from this Fightful report. Now 7 days. 7 days before WrestleMania? Unless somebody's getting involved. That shouldn't be there, Vince. Give me a break with this nonsense. Now, the report notes that Triple H has even considered bringing back the World Heavyweight Championship to replace Roman's belt. They want to retire the Universal Championship. I don't think that's going to happen at all. There's no word on whether that's going to happen or not. Why would Triple H get rid of the Universal Championship? If Roman Reigns is still going to walk out as world champion at WrestleMania, well, obviously we're not getting rid of the Universal Championship. He's going to break 1,000 days. Now, can I see Triple H wanting to get rid of it after Roman loses the belt to whomever the titles are going to next? Sure. But I also brought this to the discussion. Triple H wants to bring back the World Heavyweight Championship. He wants to bring back Big Gold. He wants 2 championships. We know that Monday Night Raw needs a world champion. He wants a champion on Raw. He wants a champion on SmackDown. I would operate WWE with 1 world champion floating between both shows. That's the way I would do it. I think 1 world champion means a little bit more prestige for the championship. I think 1 world champion means better stories. 1 world championship means that the title is greater than there are 2 champions. Than if there were 2 champions. I feel like if you have 2 champions, it kind of devalues the other world championship. Like, how many world champions can you have? You should have 1 world championship and then follow the rules of the brand split as you go down the totem pole. That's just me. That's just my take. But if he does bring back Big Gold, I could see it. He's a lover of the old school. What is old is new. And Triple H will take something that's old and make it work in the new school. That's just the way he is. He loves the rich history of pro wrestling. He loves the rich history of WWE. He wants to make those things fit and make them relevant in the current generation. The Universal title is a Vince McMahon idea. He wants to get rid of it. No problem. I have no problem with that. But again, do you see Vince McMahon wanting to get rid of the Universal Championship? Do you want to see, a Big Gold back? Sure. But can you believe Vince McMahon would willingly say, yeah, let's get rid of the Universal Champ? I can't see it. And Roman Reigns, again, here's another point on to why they may want to get rid of it. After Roman Reigns breaks he already has the record, but when he gets to that, nobody's touching it part of the record, they may just retire it because they don't want anybody to break that record. I could see them doing that for Roman Reigns as well. Hey, let's get to 1,000 days, 1,001. And I could absolutely see them saying, you know what, we're going to retire the title. The Universal title is going to go away, and nobody's going to ever break that record, and it's going to be Roman Reigns' record forever. I could see them doing that as well because WWE loves to pander to Roman Reigns as well. So let's go back and kind of document what we talked about already. WrestleVotes is reporting that WWE does not have a solid winner in place for Cody and Roman. Fightful is reporting that it is something that usually occurs with these major shows, that WrestleMania winners and losers have not been decided yet this late in the game. And then Triple H wants to have a year-long roadmap and get rid of the Universal Championship. Fine. That's where we are right now. Roman Reigns, if he goes away after WrestleMania, I don't know if it's going to be any different than what we saw last year. I mean, WWE, everybody made a big stink about Roman Reigns going away after he won the Universal Championship and the WWE Championship from Brock Lesnar at WrestleMania. He went away. I mean, how many events did he actually work before SummerSlam? How many shows did he actually show up on SmackDown before SummerSlam? I mean, is it that big of a deal? I think Roman is at a level now, I mean, he's even better than he was then a year ago. Roman is at a level right now where the bloodline is stronger, the bloodline is bigger, Solo is better. than he was last year. The Usos are better than they were last year. I mean, there's so much story in the bloodline. If Roman Reigns wants to take 3, 4, 5 weeks off television, wants to take 2 fucking months off, they got the manpower to tell the story of the bloodline because it's going to shift. It's going to shift, and the story is going to take a different shape after WrestleMania because it's not going to be about Sami and Roman and all these other things that we've seen. It's going to be Roman and the bloodline kind of breaking down from within. Where does Jay lie? Where does Jimmy lie? Where does Solo lie? Cody Rhodes is going to be involved in that, and because we've seen what we've seen so far, Cody's kind of being the catalyst for the bloodline breaking apart by him sticking his nose in the bloodline business. So if Roman Reigns takes months off from television, is it going to be that much of a deal breaker as we see the bloodline now bigger, badder, stronger than they were a year ago, better than they were a year ago? Who cares? Who cares? And you know how WWE likes to pad their analytics and their stats. The more Roman Reigns is off TV, the less work he has to do, and the longer his reign is actually going to be. Roman Reigns is the top guy, but WWE will have him on every major show that the company puts on. So the Saudi show, he will be in there. The Puerto Rico show, he will be there. And then SummerSlam, obviously. So WWE is going to have Roman appear on these major shows, but everything in between, what's the big deal? It happened last year, and nobody really made a big stink of it outside of the first, I would say, initial 24 to 48 hours. But here we are talking about the same thing. Is anything else going to change? No. Roman Reigns understands what he brings to the table as the world champion and the importance he brings to the brand as world champion. Is he going to take a whole fucking half a year off? No, he's going to take the same amount of time he took last year because after WrestleMania, it's like, I'm going to go and kind of relax on the island of relevancy, and then I'll see you guys back sometime in the summer. We'll just pick things up. No big deal. So I don't really take a lot of, what is being said here about Roman Reigns taking WWE off, or taking off from WWE, rather, and going away for months as a big deal. He did it last year. More than likely, it's going to be the same thing this year. Triple H, Monday Night Raw after WrestleMania, going to be a big deal. Many surprises are planned, and Triple H has major plans for 1 year after WrestleMania. Don't know how he has major plans 1 year after WrestleMania for the entire year if he can't even come up with a fucking winner for Roman Reigns and Cody Rhodes. I mean, I think that would pretty much be the ideal situation. How could you come up with plans for WWE for the next year if you don't even know who the fuck is going to win your championship match? Bullshit. I don't know who's reporting this shit or where these reports are coming from, but, I mean, that's a major, major fucking contradiction right there. So we'll hold off on that for a second. But WWE's planning major surprises for the Raw after WrestleMania. This also comes from WrestleVotes via Give Me Sport. An update on Triple H's plans for the Raw after Mania. They say, and I quote, "I would bet money that the majority of surprises are going to be within the storylines on the show as opposed to debuts. They don't want to go down that road. I don't think that will happen." However, WrestleVotes didn't completely rule out debuts, specifically mentioning Zack Ryder, a Matt Cardona return could be in the cards. "I think you might get one debut," says WrestleVotes. "I think you might get Zack Ryder. I think you might get an NXT call-up, but I don't think 5 or 6 or 7 people are showing up because that's just not really the reality of the situation. If you bring in 10 people to a roster that can't even use everybody already, you have to look at what you are still doing." I mean, he's not wrong. I mean, I wouldn't even go as far as Matt Cardona. I mean, there's a lot of names out there. I'd love to see Matt Cardona back. I think he's, a valuable asset more now than he was in WWE. We got Jay White floating out there. Who knows if Jay White has been brought in by WWE? We won't know until after WrestleMania where he ends up. I know AEW is eyeing him as well. WWE is also talking about Cameron Grimes and Braun Breaker being called up to the main roster. This is coming from WRKD Wrestling on Twitter, as both of these men are set to become mainstays on the active roster after WrestleMania. Grimes has been absent from WWE television for months, since November, since losing to Joe Gacy on NXT TV, with him reportedly waiting for a main roster creative push before he reappears on television. Braun Breaker, currently the NXT champion, more than likely set to lose that title to Carmelo Hayes at Stand and Deliver, and he probably will be on the Raw after WrestleMania. Randy Orton is another name that's being talked about. Randy Orton supposedly is being brought in for WrestleMania as he is set to return. Matt Riddle may be back. Obviously, he ties into Randy Orton. AJ Styles has been rumored to come back. Do we need an abundance of, outsiders coming in that WWE is going to sign? Or do we have a lot to work with what we have right now on the roster with injuries and returning superstars from injuries? We got Braun Breaker and Carmelo Hayes that will add a lot of depth and a lot of value to either a Raw or SmackDown. Do we need a lot of people like Jay White coming on in? A lot of free agents? I mean, it's fun. It's fun to speculate. It's fun to think about. I think Jay White would fit like a glove in a Triple H-led WWE. Matt Cardona as well. That's the type of guy you want to see back after what he's done on the indies. We'll have to wait and see. But WWE has a lot right now on their plate with what they have where they don't have to dip into the free agent pool and overload the roster because like WrestleVote says, there's a lot of guys on the roster that need to factor big after WrestleMania that have been brought back that haven't really done much of anything, and guys that haven't really been used on television in a meaningful way. You want to get those people on television. So we'll see what happens. Nakamura is another one. Nakamura was in the news. According to several sources, Nakamura is set to be brought back by Triple H. He's been kept off TV and not involved in anything on the road to WrestleMania. And Triple H wants to get him back to a position to revitalize Nakamura to what he was when he was working for Triple H on the NXT brand. The only thing that we know about Nakamura, or the only thing I should say that Nakamura has done, was kind of peaked the forbidden door via WWE, working with the great Muda for Pro Wrestling Noah at the turn of the new year earlier in January. So that's the only thing he's really done, but he hasn't been on WWE television at all, and Triple H is ready to bring him back as well and revitalize him. So, I mean, like I said, there's a lot on their plate right now with what they have. They don't need to dip into the free agency pool to make a big splash for the road to WrestleMania. A couple of NXT call-ups, some new feuds, some new stories, a fresh start with new everything on Monday Night Raw. I mean, this is the new season for WWE. Just make it feel fresh. I don't need 7, 6, 7, 9, 10 new debuts on the roster. I don't, from free agency. I don't need that. Just give me some fucking good storytelling and something that resembles a fresh look of Monday Night Raw, and I'll be good to go. Now, the major plans for WWE has major plans for 1 year after WrestleMania 39. Again, I don't know how they have major plans for 1 year when they can't even come up with a supposed winner for Roman Reigns and Cody Rhodes. Now, Triple H has plans in place for WWE for over a year after WrestleMania 39, reports are claiming. Now, Vince McMahon, during his time when he was running creative, which for all we know he's still running, was known for planning shows and major storylines at the last minutes. Long-term booking did not exist in Vince McMahon's vocabulary. Now, this is coming from the Wrestling Observer. And Triple H is looking beyond WrestleMania 39, according to Meltzer and Alvarez, and already has plans in place for WWE heading into 2024. They have a year of post-Mania plans, says Dave Meltzer. This is not something we're going to do with Vince McMahon. This is not something we're going to go and do after WrestleMania. And then the creative team, Hunter, is going to wake up and be like, what the fuck are we going to do now? The news should definitely come as a positive for fans, many of who've been calling for WWE to implement some long-term booking for several years, as you see how it's paid off, how well it's paid off with the Bloodline on SmackDown. The report also serves as another reminder that things in WWE are really different under Triple H than Vince McMahon, particularly on the creative side. At the time of this writing, there's no concrete word on the plans that Triple H has in place heading out of WrestleMania 39. However, fans should be able to pick up on some subtle teases that have been dropped on TV over the last few weeks, which could indicate what feuds are being planned. Now, most of that has to do with the Bloodline because there's a lot of internal turmoil and an internal struggle there with the Bloodline, and you see a bunch of different ways that could go with Cody and how he's going to factor into that, with Jimmy kind of blaming Jay on SmackDown, Jay him being conflicted with the seeds that Sammy continues to plant in his head. Oh, you want to turn on Roman? I know you do. You're only mad at me because you weren't allowed to do it, or you couldn't bring yourself to do it solo. Who knows where he's going to factor into all that. Cody telling Roman on Raw that the bloodline's going to implode and you're going to be standing there as the head of the table with nobody sitting around you. You're going to be basically bloodline-less, is what he said on Monday Night Raw. So we don't know what's going to happen, but we won't have to wait long. WrestleMania is here in a week. Monday Night Raw after WrestleMania seemingly looks to be more exciting than it has been in the last decade or so. And we'll know when we get there in 7 days what's going to happen. We'll see a lot of things transpire at WrestleMania, but, I don't really put much stock into that report because, like I said, how could you have a one-year plan if you don't even know who's walking out of WrestleMania as your world champion? Now, at the end of it all, I think Roman Reigns is retaining, and I honestly think Roman Reigns is walking out still the Universal Heavyweight Champion of WrestleMania 39. I don't think Cody is ready for it now. I think Cody will be ready when we get a little bit more of Cody embroiled in the bloodline story. There hasn't been enough build. WWE hasn't really gone out there and told the story of Cody Rhodes. I mean, they've dabbled in it here and there. They've planted some seeds about that and kind of briefly brought up his time away and starting that other company. And they mentioned Dusty and Stardust and relationship with Dusty and Roman. They really haven't dove head first, knee deep into it. They need more. They need more to develop over time to a point where a lot of us collectively feel, you know what? Cody's done enough. Cody's ready. Cody's the guy. Cody's struggled enough. The story is leading to him finally being the guy to take it off of Roman. It's not enough time to do that at WrestleMania. I know WrestleMania is the grand stage of them all, and it's the right platform to do it. But I don't think it's time for Roman to drop the titles. And I've mentioned this week over week over week for the past several weeks. Has Roman done anything to elicit a reaction from the fans that he should lose the championships? No. Roman has not stagnated. He's not gotten boring. He's not floated away from, the importance of the titles. He still is as big as he ever was. He feels actually more important now. The more he grows, the more important he is. Why would you want to ruin that? Plus, you got the 1,000 days looming. Do you see WWE taking the titles off of Roman 1,000 days? 50 days shy of 1,000 days. I mean, there's just so much factoring in that's pro-Roman and not really pro-Cody. But these reports, man, I mean, listen, take them with a grain of salt. All we know is that Triple H has surprises, plans. I'm sure that he's got a vision. How much of that vision is going to play out? I don't know. If they don't know who the fuck's going to win the World Championship at WrestleMania, I don't know how much of a vision they really have. So we'll figure it out in 7 days when we get to Los Angeles and move on into WrestleMania and beyond. But that is the news I got for you guys today, man. Hopefully you enjoyed the content today. If you did, please make sure you hit that thumbs up, hit that subscribe button down below, and turn on that bell for notifications. And please go check out all the other content on the channel as well. Plenty of it for you there, live streams and YouTube shorts. And as always, hit that thumbs up on the way out and show your appreciation for the podcast here today. I will see you guys on Friday night live after SmackDown. Until then, have a great Thursday, and we'll be back in the venue for SmackDown right here on OTS.